Welcome to the Walkie-Talkies by Michelle Baharier. Part 8. All aboard! Inspired by the disabled people's civil rights movement to make buses accessible.
Not an urban surfer, baby. You will soon know your place. A London bus? Not for me. You'll not be part of the Routemaster race.
I was exposed to the medical model of disability. And so I learned to believe that it was my fault that I couldn't get on a bus.
I have a case where a disabled man used to get on my bus at 188 down the Torbridge Road. He used to work at a place called Remploy. They used to have mostly like disabled people working there, you know. That's where it got the name from Remploy. Getting on the bus, he used to, because he couldn't stand up. He was always in a stooping position where he's moving about. So when the bus pulls up at the curb and he's trying to get on, he would hold the bar on the all open buses and pull himself up onto the platform. And you know where he used to travel? He never go inside the bus. You know where they used to put the suitcases and so on? He would go up under there and travel the journey, how far he's going, sitting under there, stooping under there.
Very limited, and I was a young person that I wanted to go out to work, yet I couldn't get to work. I struggled to...
She was left standing. Because I wasn't well, you know, I've got a stick. She thought the young girl should get up and give me the seat. She was on the inside, so she got up so I could sit down, and then she sat down and the young girl had to stand up.
Yeah, well, the young people should stand up if you
want to. Well, some of them, they could be very nice and they'll get up and give you a seat if they see you're not well. But others just sat there and wouldn't move.
Yes, I know.
Which we've all paid for. You know, it was a Boris Johnson, I think the guy's name was Thomas Heatherwick or something like that. One thing I don't like is every time you sit, wherever you sit, you've got one of those lights in your eyes on the new bus. And I don't think the air conditioning is great. It's so noisy. On a hot day, if you're in one of those buses, you can barely hear yourself think. It's really noisy, with a light shining in your eyes. And it's got fewer seats, and they just seem a bit more awkward. Maybe, you know, because I used to like the old Routemaster. The newer buses don't have so many seats. So they have good and bad about them.
Access-wise, the ramps, sometimes they don't work, which is a pain, and sometimes I've had the experience where I've managed to get on the bus with the ramp, and then the driver's not been able to, when I got to the stop where I'm going, the driver's not been able to let the ramp out again, it's got stuck or something. And that's a bit embarrassing because, you know, I think of the other people trying to get to their work and stuff, and the bus is being held up, and people are generally quite polite and they don't say anything, but you feel it, you think, oh God, you know, this is just holding everything up. And of course
then
it's not
we
my fault,
wouldn't
but
have to feel disabled, we would feel able to do almost...
yeah, raised platforms at bus stops would be good.
A lot of fights.
Well, like where I live now, for instance, I actually went around, when I first moved to the area, I went around measuring, well, I got a PA to help me, measure the height of the pavement where all the bus stops were, so that I would know which of the pavements, well, because the higher the pavement is, the bigger the curve on the pavement, the higher the pavement level is from the road, the less steep gradient the ramp is going to be, which means it's easier to get on and off of it, do it safely. And so I made a point of finding out which pavements in my local area were higher, which meant that the ramp wouldn't be so steep getting on and off, and therefore safer and able to do it independently. So that was one thing I did when I kind of first moved to where I live. So
I would never fight with a wheelchair user for the space, but I will say
we had to break the law to make the law. Because before then it was really purely segregation. So why don't you join us and come and hijack a bus? We had to break the law to make the law. You join us and come and hijack a bus.
Of course, it's not my fault, but
we had to break the law to make the law. We had to break the law to make the law. We had to break the law to make the law. Because before then it was really purely segregation. Because before then it was really purely segregation.
Everything we want to do, then we wouldn't have to feel disabled, we would feel able to do almost everything we want to do. Then we wouldn't have to feel disabled, we would feel able.
I'm free from transport tyranny, baby. And on your fucking case, don't get fooled by the urban myth. It's over the Routemaster race.
We had to break the law to make
They call us wheelchair warriors. We're kicking up some fuss, and we will keep on marching till you let us on the bus. What do we want? Civil rights! When do we want them? Now!
When we got to the end of the ride, he asked me to go for a walk. But I was Camberwell Green by a very long jaunt on to Camberwell Green on a summer's day.
The Walkie-Talkies project by Michelle Baharier is supported by Arts Council England National Lottery funding. Michelle Baharier wishes to thank Alex Zidane, Jennifer Fletcher, Kathy Waller, Disability Arts Online, and many others for their support to make the Walkie-Talkies.